The Dolphins. As I leave the Environment Ministry, I can't help feeling a little deflated. I'd been looking forward to a good confrontational interview, but I have to concede that the minister's position is reasonable. It is too early to judge the government's record. Nevertheless, given the state of the river and the history of efforts to improve it, it is hard to be optimistic. It takes something very special to give me any sense of optimism about the Ganges. This begins with a tantalizing invitation from contacts at the WWF, who ask if I want to try to get a glimpse of one of the rarest species in India, the Ganges river dolphin. These extraordinary animals are to all intents and purposes blind. They have evolved a system of echolocation to navigate and catch fish in the murky waters of the Ganges. But they are threatened with extinction. Back in the 1980s, the population was reckoned to have fallen to just 5,000 in India. According to a recent survey by WWF, there are now fewer than 2,000 left, and that figure is higher than the experts were expecting. When I mentioned my dolphin-watching ambitions to a grizzled fellow journalist over a large Black Dog whiskey at the picturesquely decrepit Foreign Correspondents Club in the center of Delhi, he meets them with a derisive snort. Not only are they very rare, but they aren't nearly as frisky as their maritime cousins, he warns. You'll be lucky to see anything more than a gray dorsal fin break the surface. My hopes suitably quashed, I await further details from WWF. I'm expecting that we'll be heading to the higher reaches of the river where the water is cleanest, but they tell me to meet them in Allahabad. The city is on one of the most polluted stretches of the Ganges of them all, just downstream from Kanpur. With the camera crew, I drive to a little village. We've been told to get there by 10 o'clock because the dolphins are most active in the morning. I'm prepared for a long wait, but as I walk down a steep slope onto the sandy banks beside the river, I see something break the surface. That wasn't a dolphin, was it? I ask, astonished. It was, Ashgar Nawab of WWF tells me. He explains that the dolphins need to breathe every minute or two, so when a pod, a dolphin family, is around, they come to the surface very regularly. But it is one thing to see dolphins, quite another to get good pictures. Fortunately, the excellent BBC cameraman Sanjay Ganguly is up to the task, and he is ably assisted by the dolphins themselves, which jump and splash in the water just as playfully as those in the oceans. I will never forget one moment when 7 dolphins jumped near the boat, one after the other. After a couple of hours on the river, we've bagged some wonderful shots of these incredible animals. I'm surprised what an impression it makes on me. It tells us that, despite the pollution, the river is capable of supporting these amazing animals. It also demonstrates again why it is so important that the Indian government's efforts to clean up the river succeed. My final destination is Gangasagar on the Bay of Bengal, where the Ganges meets the Indian Ocean. This is another holy site, and I visit during the annual Mela, when the descent of Ganga from heaven is celebrated. More than 1 million people have come here to bathe in the holy but polluted waters. That sounds like a lot, but by the standards of Ganges festivals, it is quite modest. Some 120 million people are reckoned to have visited Allahabad over a 2-month period in 2013 for the Maha Kumbh Mela, a celebration held once every 12 years. More than 30 million are estimated to have visited on one day alone, 10 February 2013. These huge numbers are a measure of just how important the Ganges is to Hindus, and explains why the Clean Ganga mission has been given such prominence by the government. The Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, knows that it is a key yardstick by which his success or failure will be judged. His efforts to clean the Ganges are a test of India's ability to modernize, to tackle corruption and introduce proper regulation, as well as to invest massively in waste treatment. But he has a crucial asset, the fact that so many Indians want him to succeed. On the banks of the Ganges, I meet Swami Chidanand again, the cheerful religious leader I met way back in Rishikesh. He believes change will come. I think one day we will see the Ganga, the pristine Ganga, and this will happen not only because the politicians, but people also, all stakeholders will come together. Because rivers belong to all. Ganga belongs to all. We all must come together. I'm very optimistic. We will see it through. Let's hope so, because if India can clean up one of the dirtiest rivers in the world, who knows what else this great rising nation can achieve.